Welcome back to Askewed Reviews, and today we have another movie request, and it is for the 1989 film Meet the Feebles. Here is your trivia question for today. What part of this movie was technically filmed as a separate movie? The answer will be at the end of this video. So in this film, we have a world where puppets exist and humans don't. Now, specifically, the group of puppets that we're looking in on are called the Feebles, and they happen to be doing a variety show. And as we get to see the lives of these puppets, we get to see examples of good relationships, bad relationships, and how these puppets deal with sex, drugs, and violence. This film is directed by Peter Jackson. That's right, that Peter Jackson, the one who brought us the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The original concept for Meet the Feebles was that it was going to be a television series, but instead they decided to make it into a movie. One thing I do find very funny is apparently this movie was an inspiration for an Australian children's TV series that was made in 1994 called The Ferals. Now, clearly, the inspiration for this film is a much more adult parody of The Muppet Show. In fact, it is believed that the frog that appears on the cross is supposed to be a reference towards Kermit. Now, what's interesting though is so many years later, the Muppets actually have made a reference towards this film. In the Disney Plus series, The Muppets Mayhem, there is an episode with Peter Jackson in it, and he's shooting a documentary of the band The Electric Mayhem. Now, the character of Floyd Pepper says that they haven't seen Jackson since that night in Wellington when the band met the Feebles. Jackson's response back is stating that it was a bad night and that two of the Feebles are now in witness protection and the rest are in prison. Most of the audience members in this film are actually cardboard cutouts, but at one point there is an audience member that is wearing the alien costume from Peter Jackson's film Bad Taste. In fact, that audience member is actually Jackson wearing the mask. Obviously, there are no actual humans in this film, but did you happen to notice that the character of Abby is the only human puppet that appears? Apparently, the production team was unable to get a hold of blank rounds for the M60. So, in the climactic ending, those are actually live rounds being used and shot around. Every vehicle in this film is a variation of one that's called the Morris Minor. This car also appears in Jackson's other films, Bad Taste and Braindead. However, if you're from America, you might know Braindead more as Dead Alive. The reason why they changed it over here in the States is because 2 years prior, there was already a film called Braindead. So when it comes to the film Meet the Feebles, this is definitely a very odd but yet entertaining film. It's not a great film, but I do recommend everyone checking it out at least once. So due to the film's originality and absolute ridiculousness, I'm going to just push it up out of being a 2 and make this one a 3 out of 5. Also, if you did enjoy the film, other movies I recommend are The Happy Time Murders and Freaked. Now, as for the trivia question from the beginning of this episode, what part of this movie was technically filmed as a separate movie? So, while filming the movie, Peter Jackson ran out of budget, but he still wanted to do the whole Vietnam flashback sequence. So, he tricked the film studios into thinking that he was making another film called The Frogs of War, where he got a separate budget, and in the end, he just ended up editing this into the other movie. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Askewed Reviews, and if there is a movie you'd like to see get a review, just mention it in the comments.